If you're looking to find the cheapest and most reliable EA FC25 coins and accounts, look no further than z2u.com. 100% safe, fully reliable, and some of the fastest delivery possible. Make sure you go check them out for any FC25 needs. Okay, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. As always, I really do appreciate it. In today's video, I'm coming at you guys with a little bit of a different one. As you guys know, one of the main things I cover on this channel is Blue Lock. And in turn, I've started to bring Blue Lock into EA FC25. Some of you guys know, you've seen my Pro Clubs gameplays. Go check those out if you haven't. But a big majority of you guys do know I love Blue Lock. It's the main thing that I do cover on my channel, and it's what's kind of garnered most of my audience. And part of the reason why I do play Pro Clubs on EA FC so much is because of Blue Lock. I've always seen the Pro Clubs game mode as somewhat of like a Blue Lock resemblance due to the fact that you can create your own character, make him do whatever the hell you want him to do, and then play against other creative players up to the entire full 11 squad. Obviously, it's not a complete replica of what Blue Lock is because you don't have special abilities, you don't got Metavision, Kaiser Impact, or any sort of anime power-ups like that, and see just how hard you can truly go. But with the release of EA FC 25's early access beta, I did have a chance myself to check out the game and the additions that they made to Pro Clubs, and I do have to say, guys, I am very, very excited because it does seem like we have a very Blue Lock-esque game mode ahead of us. Now, don't get me wrong, it is somewhat of the same game modes that we already have and that we've seen before, but it's changed a little bit, and let me explain. What if I told you that now you can play a 5-on-5 game mode with your friends that takes place on smaller pitches with your own creative player? The mode that I'm talking about is going to be the Rush mode in specifically Pro Clubs of EA FC 25. What Rush mode is essentially what Volta's been for the last couple years. A way to play 5-on-5 matches with your friends or just with random people on a smaller pitch, taking obvious inspiration from futsal, the smaller version of soccer overall. We're going to be given a full 5-on-5 mode with our specific created players that will be completely reminiscent of the first, second, and third selection matches of Blue Lock. Now, there is a lot of information that I can go over as far as the mode's concerned, so I'll do that right now, as well as talking about my personal experience with the beta. I'm telling you, if you're a fan of Blue Lock, you're gonna want to check this out. Really quickly, before I do get into this though, make sure you go down below and check out the link in my description to join my Discord. We're going to be talking about EA FC 25, Blue Lock, or anything that you might be interested in, so just come stop by in case you want to check that out. But yeah, with that said, I think you guys know the drill. Grab some snacks, fill those cups, sit back, relax, and yeah, enjoy. Alright, so here we go, jumping straight into it. You guys are probably wondering, what the hell is Rush mode, and how does it resemble Blue Lock in any way? Well, let me tell you. Like I said, Rush mode is basically the 5 versus 5 equivalent to what Volta was in the past. Not only is Volta completely gone, it's basically overhauled to the point where it's in every single game mode, from Ultimate Team, regular play, and yes, of course, Pro Clubs. Meaning that your specific Pro Clubs player, the more realistic of the two compared to your old Volta player before, is going to be the one that you can actually take into those specific Rush matches. Not only this, but those Rush matches are going to be able to level up your club as well as your player, gaining XP for not just yourself, but everyone else in your club, which is a really big thing. As most of you guys know who actually do play the game as much as I do, clubs matches get really annoying after a while. You're always going to run into some sort of a scripted match, so being able to just jump onto an easier mode like this without having to go all the way over to Volta like it was and completely losing the experience that you did have before with all the special power-ups and the weird stats and nothing else mattering, it's pretty cool to have. So that's basically what it is, but obviously there's a lot more specifics to go into, so tuck yourselves in because daddy's about to get to reading. First things first, the team composition and the goalkeepers. Like I said, it is a 5 versus 5 mode. However, there's only going to be 4 users on the pitch on each team. The 5th player is actually going to be an AI goalkeeper. So sorry, no Gagamaru builds, unfortunately, at least for the goalkeeper side, but hey, you might be able to try him at striker. Who knows? Now, I know it's not the coolest. I really wish that we could actually have our own goalkeepers if we wanted to, and the possibility for going 5 versus 5 user on user, but I understand it's kind of a little unfair. Some people could completely sell the game for their team. Some people could completely save the game for their team, but I guess that's just asking a little too much right now. The good news is, though, they do balance the goalkeepers out. In online matches, goalkeepers on both sides will always have identical heights, attributes, and playstyles to ensure a fair and balanced match. As fair and balanced as you can get when one team might be way better than the other. So that's how the teams are going to work, but you guys might be wondering, what about the gameplay, which is going to be the biggest point of, interest for everybody, and it's pretty simple, but it's a change to what we've had before. First things first, when the match starts, it's going to start with a race to the ball, similar to almost a tip-off in basketball, or the opening head-to-head scrum, whatever the hell it's called in hockey. The game starts off with a quick race to the ball from both teams. The ball's set in the middle of the pitch, and the first team to actually get to the ball gets to claim the first possession. It's kind of a small detail, but I actually really like it because, if you have a really fast player and you prioritize your pace, you can honestly get a really quick head start, and having first possession is always going to be huge, especially if you can take it into an early lead. Like, just think about it. Chigiri builds and Zantetsu builds are going to be going absolutely nuts. The cool part about this too is since anyone can run for the ball, it allows you to start at whatever position you kind of want to. And the reason this is cool is because similar to Blue Lock, there is something called fluid positioning that they are pushing in the match. In Rush, the traditional concept of a fixed player role and positions is set aside to encourage a more flexible and team-oriented approach to gameplay, letting players self-organize and switch roles as they please as well as the game progresses to emphasize strategic thinking and teamwork. When play stops, players are placed back on the pitch according to their most recent location, underscoring the importance of thoughtful positioning and continuous communication. That is something that I honestly think is really, really cool. In regular clubs, you get penalized when you try to go off position, but sometimes people that you're playing with aren't going to play where they're supposed to. They are out of position. They're not going to get caught lacking. If you go to another position, this way you won't get penalized. You and your team can actually switch off. You can rotate around, and the best team who's able to improvise with those changes is going to be able to make a complete difference in the match. Something that we see from the likes of Isagi, who is a striker or a forward who can go back on defense in a moment's notice. Same with Rin. And I mean, taking it to a more literal sense, look at the Ubers overall. With the way that they use Lorenzo and Nico, swapping in between the central midfield as well as the defensive midfield, I don't know how you can look at this and not think it's a Blue Lock video game. And due to the fact that we do have smaller pitches, it's honestly going to be important to have good fluid positioning. Speaking of which, we should probably discuss the size of the pitch as well as the pitch lines. The Rush pitch measures approximately 63.7 by 44.6 meters, which is roughly 41.5% the area of a traditional 11v11 pitch. This smaller, more square pitch shape is designed to encourage lateral passing and maintains adequate width. The penalty area and halfway circle are proportionally larger than those standard pitches to adapt to the reduced playing area while preserving the core football experience. Additionally, two dotted lines mark each third of the pitch, indicating the points at which the offsides rules start to apply. Goalpost dimensions remain the same as those in 11v11 football, providing a familiar target for players. Something that encourages a fast-paced game. Not only can you go from one side of the pitch to the other very, very rapidly, but you're always going to be involved in the game since it takes place on a smaller battlefield. Not only this, but the pitch is segmented into thirds which mark the offsides, which is something that they have actually changed for Rush mode specifically. Once a player crosses the offside line and they're attacking third, regular offside rules apply. Unless they're in the infraction zone, then you can cross it, stay behind them, and that's where actual rules for offsides apply. Basically, the attacking fuckers are right here. If they try to go to the third of the pitch, they're going to be offsides unless one of the other defensive players is in that third. You understand what I'm trying to say here? It's a little confusing because I know you guys are a little stupid, but you got to keep up.
Daddy, chill.
Speaking of rules, we might as well get cards out the way. They don't have red cards. They're something called blue cards. It's basically a red card, but just a timed red card, if that makes sense. Instead of getting a red card and being thrown out the game permanently, players who commit a serious foul or deny a goal scoring opportunity receive a blue card and are sidelined for 1 minute of game time. The good news is if either team scores a goal, it reduces the timer by 15 seconds. So if you see a rapid sway in the game's pace from either one team or the other as far as the goal scoring is concerned, you can quickly get back in the match. Obviously, it's going to be a huge advantage for the team that, has an extra player, but that's kind of the whole point. And obviously, when you talk about cards, you're going to want to get into free kicks, penalties, and all the good set pieces that we do have, which unfortunately is something that I do have a problem with. Specifically, when we talk about free kicks and corners, they're set up the way that they were in Volta, which I do have a problem with. I think that kind of completely eliminates a lot of freedom that we do have with some of our builds, and some of the passes that we could possibly make, even potential shots that we could make, are completely hindered by being set up with the Volta gameplay style of corners and free kicks. Not only can the corners not be properly aimed, but you can't shoot directly off of a free kick. You have to make a pass first. Obviously, that's just a personal nitpick with me, but something that I can't nitpick about is going to be the penalty system, which I really, really enjoy. Similar to the MLS shootouts back in the day, Rush has implemented a one-on-one penalty kick, meaning that when a player is granted a penalty, instead of just a penalty kick, they get a chance to go one-on-one with a goalkeeper for 10 seconds, with the rest of the players being a couple yards back, having to try and catch up to them. As long as you do have good skills, good composure, and are able to finish in the box, it's going to be a free penalty. But for some of you who crumble under pressure, yeah, you might not want to take one of these. Other than this, there's nothing really to talk about other than like quick social changes. There's a new pinging system where you can ping where the pass goes. All this stuff about two-player celebrations, but that was in Volta. You guys already know that. On top of that, there is now a quick chat with your D-pad where there's just a couple quick preset phrases or whatever. Now, obviously, none of this would be complete without the specific players themselves, and that's honestly the reason that this does feel very Blue Lock-esque. As you already know, Pro Clubs was very, very creative. You can make whatever type of player you wanted, give him whatever stats you wanted, and specialize him to specific playstyles depending on what you wanted to do or whoever you wanted to emulate. But now the specifications for your builds have never been better. And I truly mean that. Never been better. Not only can you go along the specific stat paths of every single stat, from volleys to short passing to long passing to long shots. Sky's the limit with the new build system, especially when it comes to the physical attributes and the scoring attributes. So you guys already know my blue lock builds are going to go absolutely stupid. I'm going to have way more accurate builds for you guys, and I honestly can't wait to make them. But yeah, I think that's all I got for you guys today. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of how the rush mode sounds, as well as what the prospect of a potential blue lock game could sound like for you guys. What would it have in it? Would there be special power-ups? Would it actually be something that you could unlock by playing over and over again to get the awakenings? And overall, just how would it work in your opinions? But I think that's all I got for you guys. So yeah, hope you enjoyed. Love you guys. Take it easy.